Hi guys, okay, so welcome to lesson 4. This is what we're making in this lesson. Okay, so we're making something like that, nice and cool. So this lesson is broken up into several parts. Yeah, we're going to get a background texture. We're going to set up the scene, we're going to set up the dominoes, then we're going to render it, we're going to get the piano sounds, we're going to add the audio, and we're going to export it again. Okay, so there's quite a lot going on. Right, okay, so the background texture, first of all, okay, so this is the background texture here. So we need one of those. Now I thought about just Googling it and going to free image sites, but there's a better way to do it. And what we can do is we can go to Leonardo.ai and we can actually use Leonardo. It's an AI image generator. You need to log in with your Google account or maybe your WIST email. I'm not sure which one will work. But once you've logged in, you can go to image generation and you tell it a prompt and it will generate an image based on what you tell it. Okay, so if you tell it you want Genghis Khan on the left side, on the right side, and facing Genghis Khan, a young soldier from his army, then that's what you will get. Yeah. So it's a really nice tool, image generation, and I told it I need a background image of a dark red brick wall with green neon lighting and a little bit of blue graffiti. And this is what it gave me. Now you can use various different engines. Okay, there's all of these different engines that you can use that will give you a different style. So for example, a 3D animation style. If I generate that, it's going to cost me 4 tokens, but I get, I get 100, so I get 150 tokens every 24 hours. So you write the prompt, you tell it what you want your background to look like, and it will generate something for you. Yeah, and you can use different engines and you can get different styles. So here, this is my 3D animation style. Here, this is my Dream Shaper engine. The same prompt, but very, very different outputs because we're using different engines. Yeah, this was a photo reel, so I turned on photo reel here. It gave me this one. This is the one I'm going to use in this tutorial. I really like this one. So I've already downloaded this and saved this. This was SDXL, so this is standard diffusion engine, which is very popular in the AI world, but I didn't like those. So not safe for work, but these are not safe. There's no problem here, these are fine. I don't like these a lot. This one is the one that I used in the demo video that I've just shown you, and this one I also really like, yeah? And for this one I used the Leonardo Diffusion XL, just asking for a black wall with neon lighting and a little bit of graffiti. I didn't specify the colours of the lighting and I didn't specify the colours of the graffiti. So a really nice AI tool. Now, some things that we need to know. We must generate square images. Okay, so we must have an X and a Y that are the same. So that might restrict your use of engine a little bit. What you can do you can always specify your own X and Y, your own width and height here if you don't see an X and a Y that are the same here. Yeah. Tiling, we need to turn on tiling because we are going to tile it. We're going to tile it into Blender, and then once you've generated one, once you've got one that's square that you're happy with, go ahead, download it to your Blender folder, and then we are ready to head over to Blender and get started. Right, okay, so here I've got a new scene, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it in my Blender files, and I'm going to save it as lesson 04. Okay, good. Right, once I've done that with my cube selected, I'm going to press N to get the properties up. I'm going to change this to 5. I'm going to leave that at 2, and I want this nice and thin 0.25. Okay, so 5, 2, and 0.25. Good, so that's my domino. After that, I'm going to add a plane. I'm going to rotate the plane along this axis. Now, this green axis we know is the y-axis. So I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. And I want this plane nice and big, because this is going to be our wall. Okay, so 40 by 40. There we go. Okay, so what else do we need to do? We need to set up the camera. Okay, so let's go ahead now and set up the camera. Now, I want it in the middle. So I want it at 0 on the y-axis. I want it back a little bit further. It's a bit too close to the wall. So I want that back about 15 degrees. And let's have that at a nice round 5. Okay. Now, in terms of rotation, 90, 0, and 90 will give us a nice rotation, pointing straight at the wall. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the output. We don't want it in a widescreen format. We don't want 1920, we'll want 1080 by 1920. Okay, so it's going to be like mobile phone format. Let's go ahead and set up our light as well. So, my light, I want an area light. I want an area light which is about 20 meters by about 10 meters. Yeah. Let's have a nice color, any color that you want. My wall is kind of red, so red makes sense. I'm going to have this nice and strong. Now I need to change. This. So I want it in the middle. So I want it bang in the middle. I want it back, so about 20 meters back. And I want it about 5 meters up. Right, okay, and I need to rotate this. Now, my rotation. So if I try 90, 0 and 90, okay, but actually I don't, no, hang on. No, not that. So let's keep that. All right, let's actually change this size to 10 by 20. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So I've got an area light, 10 meters by 20, 90 degrees rotated on the x-axis, 0 degrees rotated on the y-axis, and 90 degrees rotated on the z-axis. Okay, so now I've got my camera, I've got my light, I've got my plane, and I've got my first domino set up. Yeah. Right, where do we go from here? Well, let's add an image texture. Let's add our image texture to the plane. So I'm going to select the plane, go to materials, have a new material, base color, image texture. I'm going to open. I saved it in pictures. Where's my pictures? Pictures, wall. Right, okay, so I don't know why, but the picture here, the bricks go horizontally. Yeah? But here, the bricks go vertically. Okay, so I'm not sure why. So we've got a little bit of work to do here. So I'm going to select my plane. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to face select. Okay, so I need to face select here, and that's going to select this face. And then I can just rotate this, and I can just rotate this like that. Yeah. So there we go. Now it's the bricks are up. Okay, good. Looks the same. Right, we can go back into object mode. Now I don't just want one of these. I want this tiled. So we need to use this UV editing. Let me pinch to zoom out, and let me pinch to zoom out here. Let me put this into rendered view. Okay, so we can kind of see the same. Let me go straight on. Okay, now with this selected, okay, so I want to select this. I want to select this. How do I select this? Okay, so I can't. So to select this, I need this UV sync selection. Yeah, so I need these two buttons here selected. And then what I can do, I can drag over. I've got my 4 corners selected. And now I can do S, and I can zoom out. And you can see the image on the right, it's tiling. Yeah, if I zoom in, I just get 1 tile. And if I zoom out, I get many tiles. Okay, so I can zoom out until I get something that I'm happy with. Something like that is quite nice. Then I can get rid of this UV editing. I can go back here to layout. Okay, all right, good. Let's save that. Right, so we've got our background texture. We've set up the scene. Now let's set up the dominoes. And of course, let's set up the ball. Yeah. So this domino, we know that we are going to need this to be a rigid body. So let's set up the physics. So physics rigid body, and let's just have that passive. Okay, easy peasy. Let's add a UV sphere. I want this a bit smaller. So about 1.5 by about 1.5 by about 1.5. Wait, 1.5. Okay. You can have it any size you want. I'm going to have this rigid body. This needs to be active. And let's have it as a sphere, okay, because it is a sphere. Okay, so far so good. In terms of materials, let's have a new material. Now here, we're going to have this as an emission material, okay, because I want it to glow, yeah? I'm going to have it as a nice yellow, and I'm going to turn the strength up to 20. Okay, there we go. We can see that it's glowing. What we can do, we go to render, and we can turn on bloom, and now it's really going to glow. Okay, so we can see that the ball is halfway through our wall, and that's because it's on the center point. So we need to grab it, X and 1 to move it forward. Okay, so now it's on this side of the wall. Yeah. Right, good. So going through our camera, looking through our camera, I want this ball, so I'm going to grab this, and I want this ball up here. Let's change our camera. We need a wider field of vision. So here, let's have this down to about 20, and then we get a much wider field of vision. That would be very useful for us. Now, using these tools is really, really important. Yeah, if we're working like this, yeah, then when I grab it and I move it, I'm not quite sure which axes I'm moving it on. Yeah, so it's much better to use these, and then we can be sure that when I'm grabbing it, I'm only moving it on the x-axis. Okay, so let's have that up there, so half in the scene and half out. Yeah. Even my camera, a little bit more field of vision. Okay, that's fine. Let's move this up. We're going to need more frames. 250 frames is not a lot. If we think about 24 frames per second, it's about 11 seconds. So we need something a little bit more. We probably don't need 500, but let's have 500 for now. Okay. And if we press play, okay, the ball falls. Yeah, that's good. Now, we're ready to start setting up the dominoes. So, let's keep on right orthographic. Shift D. Now, it's important where I press Shift D. Shift D to duplicate, and it does duplicate. If my mouse is over here and I press Shift D, it doesn't do anything. If my mouse is down here, my cursor is down here, and I go Shift D, again it doesn't do anything. So my cursor needs to be in this window with my domino selected, Shift D, and then I can duplicate. Yeah. So I've got one domino. I'm going to go here to rotate it, and I'm just going to rotate it just a touch. Yeah. Let's go back to the physics here. The surface response. I want to turn friction down. I want to turn bounciness up. And here on this domino as well. So I go to the physics here. Okay, friction down and bounciness up to 1. Okay, and if I do that and I press play, okay, it's really, really bouncy. Okay, that's more bouncy than I was expecting. And that's because I think it's a bit too close to the wall. Yeah, sometimes the physics goes a bit random if the object is a bit too close to another object. So I think what we can do, if we do this, go into, what is that, back orthographic view. I'm just going to grab my ball, move it along the x-axis and just bring it out just a touch. Okay, you see that? So now it's just a little bit away from the wall. Okay, and now I think if I press play, right, okay, so I've got this orange line here. So that tells me that the computer has kind of baked it. The computer has kind of done a pre-render, and because I've changed some animation, I need to change that. I need to get rid of that bake. So I'm going to change the speed to 2 because there's a bit of a problem with Blender, where if you try to rebake with the same speed, it doesn't always rebake. It's a bit odd. So I've changed the speed to 2. I deleted my bake. I'm baking again. Now if I press play, okay, I get some nice standard bounciness. I'm going to change the speed back to 1. I'm going to delete my bake and bake. Okay, so this speed thing, this is a bit of a hack, yeah, because sometimes if we delete our bakes, it doesn't actually delete it. I don't know if this is a bug or I don't know, yeah. I just know that sometimes you just need to fiddle with the speed to get your bakes to rebake. Anyway, all right, so now we've got that. Okay, good. I'm really happy with that. Nice first bounce. Okay, and now I'm sure you can guess what's happening here. So I want to go. I want to go here. I'm going to select this domino. I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to rotate this just a touch. Okay. Let me check the physics on here. The physics should be fine. Okay. Sorry. Because I duplicated it. Okay. So this, I duplicated all my dominoes and then I added the physics to this one. So there's no physics on these other dominoes. So I need to set that up. So bounciness of 1. Go back, press play, boing, boing. Right, okay, so that didn't bounce. And again, I think that's because we just need to rebake it. Yeah. So I'm going to go again to my scene, delete all bakes and bake. Go back to the start, press play, boing, boing. Still not bouncing. So let me see if that really did rebake. Let me change the speed. Bake it, back to the start, boing, boing. Okay, all right, so now it is bouncing, but it's bouncing off, which is not what we want, obviously. I'm going to zoom in a bit here. One more time, boing, boing. Right, okay, so I need to move this. I'm going to just grab this. Just move this up here, change my speed to force it to rebake, yeah, go back, boing, oh dear, okay, good, right, okay, so far so good. Now I'm going to duplicate this. Remember, my cursor needs to be here, so I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to move that down there. I'm going to go back to frame 1. I'm going to change the speed to 2. Delete my bakes, bake. Change my speed to 1. Delete my bakes, bake again. Now if we press play, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. Now I can duplicate this again. Move this over here. Oi. Move this over here. Rotate this. Grab it. I want to move it back. I want to keep it in frame. It's important, yeah, so that when we render, we still have it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. So the bake doesn't know about this new domino. So again, so let's delete our bakes. Bake. Let's try this. I probably need to do it again, changing the speed. So change the speed to 2. Force it now to rebake. Change speed back to 1. Bake again. Bounces once, bounces twice, 3 times, 4 times. Okay, all right. I can live with that. And then grab this domino, move this domino here, rotate that a little bit, go back to the start, force it to rebake, change my speed back to 1, delete my bakes, bake again. Okay, bounces once, bounces twice, 3 times, 4 times, back and down. Okay, all right. Now I want just 3 last dominoes. I'm going to duplicate this, put this here. I want some kind of stairs. Duplicate that and duplicate that. So something like that. Let's delete all bakes, bake again, back to speed 1, delete our bakes, bake again. Okay, bounces, bounces. Good. Good. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm happy with that, and I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah? Okay, so what's next? Well, the first thing we want to do is go to the right view mode. There we go. All right, so what happens next? Let me just trim the edge. Okay, so we've got 500 frames. We don't need to render all 500 if the action actually stops. Okay, all right. So actually 250 was fine. So I'm going to render up to 300. So I'm going to take the number of frames down to 300. We don't need to render empty frames. Let's go ahead and save this. And now we're ready to go ahead and the fun bit and add the colors. Okay, so I'm going to go back to frame 1. Right, now we need to zoom in for this. Okay, so press play, bang. Okay, so I'm at frame 26. And there is, okay, so the impact, so 25, no impact, 26 impact, 27 bouncing away. Okay, so 25. Right, so the frame before the impact, yeah, which on my animation here is frame 25. So here, I'm going to go to the materials. I'm going to, if there's a material already there, I'm going to delete it. Okay, so I've got, let me get rid of this. I've got my domino selected. Let me go here to solid view. No, actually, no, they're staying rendered view. Okay, so I've got my domino selected. Material, I'm going to have a new material. I'm going to have an emission material. This is going to be black. Okay, now frame 25. I'm going to set a keyframe, and I'm going to set a keyframe for color and strength. Then I'm going to move on, frame 26. I'm going to set the color to any sort of color and a strength of 20, and now set 2 keyframes here. Okay, so what we see is, if I can zoom in, yeah, we've got keyframes on 25. If I go back here, the color is black, the strength is 1, and then on the next frame, the color is, for example, green, and the strength is 20. Okay, so now if I press play, yeah, it looks like when it hits, the color changes automatically. Okay, and that's a really nice, really cool effect. Okay, so let's carry on. Okay, zoom out a little bit. 75, this is really handy now. Okay, so 73, falling, 74 it hits, 75 it hits, 76 bounces away. Okay, so 74. Okay, so I need to select this domino now. If there's a material there, delete it. Add a new material. This is going to be an emission. The initial color is going to be black. Keyframe and keyframe. Move on one frame. Change the color to any color. Change the strength to 20. Keyframe and keyframe. Back and press play. Boing, boing. Okay, good. Happy with that. Okay, next, and it's the same process. Okay, so select this domino, delete any material that's already there. Okay, so 105, it's falling. 106 is impact. Okay, 105, so I need new material, new emission material. Color is going to be black. Keyframe, keyframe. Next frame, 106. Color is going to be, what's it going to be? It's going to be this kind of orange. 20, keyframe, keyframe. Press play. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. Over here. Okay. So 120, 121 is impact. Okay, so 120. Any material deleted. Add a new material. It's going to be an emission material. It's going to be black. Keyframe. Wait, come on. Keyframe, keyframe. Next is our impact. Change this. I'm going to change this. I'm just going to leave this to white actually. Keyframe and keyframe. Go back, run it again. Okay, looks good. Looks good. Looks really nice. Yeah. And here we go. Okay, so 170 is, okay, so let me make sure I've got the right domino selected. Delete my material, add a new material, new emission. Keyframe and keyframe. Next frame, change the color again. What color? Let's have this. Let's have this nice red. 20, keyframe and keyframe. Okay. Come on. Very nice. Love this. Okay, good. Right, okay, so just a few more to do. So, okay, all right. Okay, so 179, okay, 180. So this one, 179. Material, delete the material. New material. Emission. Emission, wait a minute. Set the color to black. Keyframe, keyframe. Next frame. Let's have this. That's a nice blue. Strength to 20. Keyframe, keyframe. 195. 196 is impact. Okay, so we'll select this one. Delete this. New. Emission. Black. Keyframe, keyframe. Next one. Now let's have this color as this. 20. Keyframe, keyframe. Let's move on a little bit. 213. Okay, remember to select the correct domino. New. Emission. Color is black. Keyframe and keyframe. Next frame. Change the color. have this a nice green. 20, keyframe and keyframe. Right, okay, good. And we are almost done. Okay, so we don't have any music. We'll do that next. Okay, good. Really happy with that. Really happy. Okay, 300 frames is enough. So I need to go ahead, I need to set up my export directory. Okay, so that's fine. FFmpeg, QuickTime. Okay, good. Render and run animation, and you can come back when this is done. Right, okay, so that has finished rendering. So if I open this, come on. Okay, very nice. Wait, hello, come on then. Okay, looks good, but no music, yeah? Doesn't look very good, yeah? Because the top of that camera could be better. Anyway, all right, that's fine. Okay, so I've got that. So that's in my MOV file. Now we need to add some music. Okay, so to add some music, you need to Google piano keys MP3, yeah? And that will give you this first result. Futon piano, You need to go there, you need to go here, you need to download the zip, yeah? And when you've done that, it will give you, you'll get a folder like this, piano MP3, yeah? And in there, you've got all of the keys. Yeah? Good. Okay, so what we can do after that is we can go ahead, we can open iMovie. We can create a new movie. We can, we can drag our film into there. Right, okay, so we need to, how to do this? Drag it down here, drag it into the timeline. And then, when we've picked our keys, okay, so for example, I'm just going to have this one, hang on, this one, use command to select, not that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Okay, so I'm just picking some random keys. You might want to do something a bit better. Right, okay, so I've got my audio. Now where's it gone? Right, okay, so here they are in my movie. Right, so let me do that again. And drag them here into my movie. So now I've got my sound and I've got my visual component. So now I need to find out exactly, I'm going to zoom in, so I'm going to use the trackpad to stretch. Okay, so there, so exactly here, I want the first sound. So I'm just going to drag it down and it's going to snap to where my timeline was. Okay, so it looks like and back one, there we go. So exactly there. So this one, and we just keep going. Okay, so that one. Drag that down. Okay, this one. There we go. And we just keep going. Okay. Have that there. Have that there. And you can take your time, you can do a bit of a better job. Have that one Like, come on, should snap. Have that one there. And the last one there. Good. And now if we play. Okay, something like that, okay? It's not perfect, it's not brilliant. You can probably do a better job than I can. And then, when you've done that, you share that to a file. Yeah, you go next. You go next. And then you can go back to your main project. So this is lesson 04 with audio. Then you can go into your main project and lesson 4. Lesson 4 to do. Okay, well, lesson 4 is not to do. Lesson 4. Lesson 4 was fun. Duck, duck, duck. When it's finished rendering, you can drag it down here and then you can crack on with lesson 5. Right, guys, okay, so not an easy lesson, but hopefully it's enjoyable. Have fun with that. I'll see you in lesson 5.